My name is Eli. I work the night shift at a small auto shop off Route 20 in Ohio. People bring us broken cars, bent rims, and tired engines. We fix what is normal. We also fix what is not. On my first night, the owner, Mr. Graham, handed me a dirty sheet of paper. Oil stains covered the corners. The paper was old, like it had lived in a pocket for years. At the top, in big block letters, someone had written, "Rules for Night Crew." "Read them," he said. "Don't argue with them. Don't change them. Tape them by the time clock." I laughed then. I thought it was a hazing trick. It was Ohio, after all, flat roads, cold wind, quiet nights. I was wrong. These were the rules. Clock says 11:11 at midnight. Ignore it. It is not time to leave. Do not open bay 7. We only have 6 bays. Keep the radio on low. If it plays poker at 3:07 a.m., hum along until the song ends. If the shop phone rings at 2:13 a.m., let it ring 13 times. Then lift the receiver. Do not speak. Hang up. Toolbox C has a mirror in the lid. After 2 a.m., keep it closed. A black cat may wander in. If its paws are greasy, it is not a cat. Do not feed it. If a tow truck arrives with no driver, sign the slip with your left hand only. Do not check the cargo. The yellow raincoat man will ask for a 10mm socket. Give him the cracked one from drawer 2. He will smile and leave. Sweep a thin line of rock salt across each bay door at 1 a.m. Keep the line unbroken. If a woman in a green scarf asks for Route 0, give her directions to the lake. Say you are sorry. Lock the door. If you hear your own voice calling your name from the office, do not answer. Turn the radio up. When the compressor turns off by itself, count to 5. If it turns back on without you touching it, you may keep working. At 4:44 a.m., write what you saw in the logbook. If the ink looks red under the light, stop writing. Go stand in the chalk circle under lift 2 until the feeling passes. At the bottom. Someone had written one more line in shaky pen. Last rule. When the sun touches the roof of the Quick-Mart, unlock the front door. If it will not unlock, you are not done yet. I taped the rules by the clock and started my shift. It was late November, cold and damp. The wind off Lake Erie smelled like metal. The lights in our shop hummed. Outside the highway was a soft flow of white and red. Inside, the air was oil and dust and rubber. I told myself I would follow the rules. I also told myself they were a joke. Both can be true at once. At 12:04 a.m., the big wall clock clicked to 11:11. The second hand froze. The little red light by the AM turned off. I felt my stomach dip like a misstep on stairs. I looked down at the paper. Rule 1. I looked back up. The clock ticked again. Normal. I breathed out and laughed alone. At 12:40 a.m., a black cat slid through the gap by bay 3. It moved like spilled oil. Its eyes were bright. Its paws were shiny, as if dipped in grease. It looked at me and opened its mouth. No sound came out. Its tongue was a strip of metal, flat and dull like a feeler gauge. I tossed a bit of jerky from my pocket. It didn't move. I remembered Rule 6. Don't feed it. I put the jerky back, hand shaking, and pretended I didn't see the knotcat. After a minute, it slid under toolbox A and was gone at 1 a.m. I swept a thin line of rock salt across each bay door. The salt bag was labeled water softener, but the grains felt sharp as glass. I laid the line careful, steady. I told myself it was for ice, for moisture, for mice. The lie felt small and safe. At 1:30 a.m., the radio clicked from classic rock to static. Then a soft polka tune crept out. The accordion sounded like a breath through teeth. Rule 3, hum along. I hummed, low and steady. The radio hummed with me. Somewhere behind me, by the office doorway, I heard a second voice humming the same tune, same pitch, same rhythm. My voice. I kept my eyes down. I hummed until the polka ended. Good, my own voice said behind me, warm and close. I turned the radio up and pretended not to hear. At 2:13 a.m., the shop phone rang. The sound was bright and mean. It cut through the building. I counted 1, 2, 3. The ring was always the same length. 4, 5, 6. It didn't sound like a normal ring. It sounded like a wrench hitting concrete in a far room. 7, 8, 9. My palms were wet. 10, 11, 12. The 13th ring was longer. It scraped my ears. I lifted the receiver. I did not speak. On the line, something breathed. It was not human. It sounded like air moving through a long rubber hose. Then the line went dead. I hung up. I shook my hands out and laughed again. It sounded fake. At 2:44 a.m., the bay door rattled. Headlights slid under the bottom edge. A flatbed tow truck backed into Bay 4. The driver's seat was empty. The bed held a dark shape, a sedan with water-stained paint and moss in the wheel wells. Water pooled beneath it, black and still. I looked at Rule 7, the printer by the door whirred and spat a form. Received by, it said. A line waited for my name. I signed with my left hand. My left hand has poor pen control. My name looked like someone wrote it underwater. I did not check the cargo. I did not step onto the flatbed. I did not look at the trunk, which clicked once, then clicked again. The tow truck revved, backed out, and left without anyone behind the wheel. You're doing good, my voice said from the office again. Only a few more. Shut up, I said, low, to myself, to the air. I turned the radio louder. At 3:07 a.m., the polka returned. I hummed. This time, the notes were wrong. The song climbed higher and higher. My throat hurt. I kept humming. The lights flickered twice. The salt line by Bay 2 shook as if a small wind hit only that spot. Something pressed against the other side of the door, not hard, just enough to bow it in. Just a few more. My own voice sang behind me. Just a few, Eli. I looked at Rule 11 again. Do not answer. I kept my eyes on the brake rotor in my hands. I cleaned rust with a wire brush until my knuckles burned. At 3:33 a.m., the front door knocked. I didn't need to look to know. It was locked. The knock was careful and polite. 3 taps, a pause, 3 taps. I walked to the glass and saw a woman in a green scarf. Her clothing looked dry but old, like it had been dry for a long time. Her eyes were grey. She smiled. Her breath fogged the glass only on the outside. Excuse me, she said through the door. Her voice was clear. I'm trying to get to Route 0. Do you know the way? Rule 10. Give her directions to the lake. Say you are sorry. Lock the door. I spoke through the glass. Go straight to Miles, I said. When you see the water, keep going. I see, she said. She wrapped her scarf tighter. Are you sorry? I'm sorry, I said. My voice shook. I'm sorry. Good boy, she said, like she was talking to the cat. She turned and walked away. She did not fade. She did not vanish. She just walked down the empty road, steady and slow, until the dark took her shape. At 3:50 a.m., the compressor shut off by itself. The silence was heavy. I counted to 5. Before I reached 4, it kicked back on. Its steady thrum filled the shop. I let go of the breath I didn't know I held. At 4:11 a.m., the yellow raincoat man came in. It wasn't raining, he dripped. Anyway, water ran off the hem of his coat and puddled at his feet, but I could not hear it hit the floor. He did not look at me. He looked at the tool wall with hunger. 10mm, he said. Need a 10. I opened drawer 2. The cracked 10mm socket sat in the back, black tape wrapped around it, useless on a real job. I held it out. He reached without looking at my hand. His fingers were cold, like metal left outside. He smiled. His teeth were neat and square, too many for his mouth. Thanks, he said, soft as rain. You'll get it back. He left. The air smelled like lake water and old iron. My hands shook again, but the shake felt smaller now. I was learning the shape of fear. It was like a tool, heavy, simple, useful when held right. At 4:44 a.m., I opened the logbook. The pages were thick and grey. I wrote the time and what I had seen, line by line. My pen made small scrapes on the paper. I watched the ink under the fluorescent light. Black, good. I wrote about the cat, the phone, the tow truck, the woman, the raincoat man. The letters were clear. The ink stayed black. The radio snapped to static. A whisper slid under the noise. Eli, it said, come to the office. I looked down at Rule 11. Do not answer. The voice did not call again. The static settled. I wrote one more line. I am not alone. When I finished, I cleaned Bay 4. The water from the flatbed had dried in a shape like a shoe print, but too long, with too many toes. I mopped around it. I did not mop it. There are stains you leave. The sky outside the big windows was turning from deep black to the softer color before dawn. The quick mart across the road glowed blue. A thin slice of sun touched its roof. I walked to the front door and tried the key. The lock would not turn. My stomach dropped. The rule at the bottom of the page echoed in my head. If it will not unlock, you are not done yet. Behind me, in the office, the phone rang. Not the shop phone. The little desk phone we never use. I walked back, slow. The office smelled like dust and old coffee. The phone kept ringing. Not the 213 sound. A normal ring. I picked it up. Hello, I said before my brain caught up. The word fell out of my mouth like a bolt rolling off a fender. Don't answer, my own voice said in my ear. I froze. My mouth went dry. I hadn't moved my lips. The voice came from the handset. It was my voice, but older, like it had smoked a while, like it had learned how to speak to things that don't listen. You broke it, my older voice said. It happens. Listen. Go to lift 2. Do you see the chalk circle? I walked to lift 2. The floor had a faint white ring under the lift's shadow. I had never noticed it before. It smelled like dust and chalk and something sweet and wrong, like antifreeze. Stand in it, my voice said. Hands in your pockets. No matter what you see, stay until the compressor turns off. Don't talk. Don't bargain. Don't try to help. What if someone needs help? I asked. I knew better. The question jumped out anyway. Someone will, my voice said. It won't be a someone. The light swung. Not a wind, just the motion of old things. The radio clicked and landed on a station with a choir. The notes were bright and clean and too sharp, like sunshine on ice. The bay doors trembled. The salt lines held, thin and brave. Then he walked in from the dark outside. He looked like me. Same face, same jacket, same oil stain on the right cuff. He smiled with my mouth. His eyes were wrong shiny, like the cat's paws. "Eli," he said. "Man, thank God. The back door jammed. Can you help me get it open?" I pressed my heels into the chalk. I tucked my hands deeper in my pockets. My fingers found a single lug nut. I rolled it between my fingers like a prayer bead. "Hey," he said, "don't be weird. Come on. It's freezing out there." The compressor cut off. The silence was huge. I counted 6 in my head, even though the rule said 5. 1 extra for luck. It turned back on. The stillness broke. The other me blinked, slow. His smile slid off like bad paint. "You learn fast," he said, but not with my voice anymore. His voice was hollow. He looked at the salt line. He tapped it with the toe of his boot. He didn't cross it. "The roads are long," he said. "We always need a mechanic." "I'm busy," I said. My voice sounded calm. "Come back during the day." He laughed, but without sound. Then he was gone. Not a vanishing. Just a step backward that took him farther than it should. The compressor hummed like normal. The lights steadied. The radio drifted back to classic rock. The chalk circle felt warm around my shoes, as if it had been in sunlight. I walked to the front door again. The sun was touching the Quick Mart roof now, bright and clean. I turned the key. The lock clicked open, easy as breath. Mr. Graham came in with coffee and a paper bag of donuts. He looked at my face, then at the rules on the wall. He set the bag down without a word. "You did all right," he said after a minute. "You're still here. I heard myself," I said. He nodded. "Happens." He took a bite of a plain donut. He chewed like the world was normal. "Who wrote the rules?" I asked. He looked at the paper. In the corner of the page, near the bottom, a new line had appeared. The pen strokes were fresh. The letters were my letters. "If the office phone rings after the sun is up, do not answer. It is not your day yet." I did not remember writing that line. My hand remembered anyway. My hand felt loose and tired. "You did," he said. He sipped his coffee. "Or you will. Time is funny on nights like this." The black cat slid out from under toolbox A and sat on the clean concrete. Its paws were clean now, soft and normal. It yawned a normal cat yawn and blinked at me like I had passed a test. I didn't try to pet it. I stood under the buzzing lights and looked at the bays. There were only 6. There had always been only 6. Bay 7 waited in the part of my head where nightmares wait. Outside, the wind pushed a paper cup across the lot. Cars hissed on the wet road. A woman in a green scarf walked by on the far sidewalk, head down, moving toward the light where the lake would be sooner or later. "Welcome to nights," Mr. Graham said. "You coming back tomorrow?" I looked at the rules. I thought of the tow truck with no driver, the knot cat, the raincoat man with too many teeth, the other me with shiny eyes. I thought of the line of salt, thin but strong. I thought of the chalk circle under lift 2, warm around my heels. I thought of my name in the logbook and the ink staying black. "Yes," I said. "I'll be here." "Good," he said. He slid the cracked 10mm socket across the counter toward me. It had been returned. "Keep this in your pocket," he said. "Sometimes it helps." I put the broken socket next to the lug nut. The metal felt steady and real. The day crew came in, loud and sleepy. They did not look at the rules. They never had to. The sun climbed higher, and the shadows in the corners thinned. I clocked out. The wall clock read 7:07 a.m. The second hand ticked smooth. The rules on the paper did not move. I took a donut from the bag. It tasted like sugar and oil and a small life that still belonged to me. When I reached the door, I stopped and turned back and added one last line in the space at the bottom. "If you must break a rule, break it once. Then learn why that rule exists at a better one." The ink stayed black. I left the pen on the counter for whoever would need it next. Then I walked out into the Ohio morning, and the shop breathed behind me, and the day felt clean, and I knew I would be back when the clock lied again. Because this is my job. Because we fix what is broken, even when the thing that is broken is the night itself.